I'm Dick Penny. I'm Managing Director of Watershed in Bristol, and we're an organisation that engages in ideas and talent. I think what we learned quite early on in our journey with the internet, and I think it's crucial to say the internet rather than digital, is that connectivity is very much a networked function that while we might be in a conversation as you and I are now one-to-one, we're actually talking to a lot of other people who they're not present, but they're engaging in the conversation. We may very well move that conversation to bring in a third or fourth person. So conversations and therefore ideas develop not in linear ways. They develop in often what appear to be quite random ways. So what we learned quite early on was to harness the power of the internet, which is a very open network where nobody is in control, but to try and create safe spaces where people could come together and take risks. And what we learned was that one of the key things is to come together with other people in an open, shared, collaborative space where there is knowledge on the table that you don't possess. So it was about bringing together people not like you.
I'm Patrick Towell. I'm co-founder and joint chief executive of a company called Gallant Media Ventures, and we're an innovation agency that work in the creative industries.
I'm Mandy Berry, and I'm the other co-founder and joint chief executive of Gallant Media Ventures. People talk a lot about innovation as though it's part of the technology. The innovation is in the technology. I believe that quite often the innovation is not in the technology, but it's in the way that it's applied. It's about the connections that the technology might make between people, between products, between services. And it's about the way in which the technology enables you to communicate it. It's about the use of the technology. It's not actually in the technology itself quite often.
Digital shouldn't be in a box on its own, because if you put digital separately, then the interaction between digital and physical is ignored. You end up with people in digital departments or digital job roles, when in the end the only person that's important for them in the end is the customer or the user. The time for this has gone. In this decade onwards, we need to be not working with digital separate.
My name's Jeff Coughlin. I'm from a company called MapToMe. I'm the CEO and the founder of MapToMe. We specialise in branded entertainment and digital engagement. A lot of people think we make games. Well, we do make games, but that's a small fragment of the whole spectrum that we do. And what we're trying to say to people now is the convergence of digital technology. A game might be part of it, a website might be part of it, an animation might be part of it, an app might be part of it. But where digital shines, it's where the convergence of the technology shines through all those channels.
All the collaborations we do are very much about doing something that has potential for real-world outcomes. So just recently, one of the programs has been looking at the future of books and print, and one of the collaborations was around running a narrative that was happening in print and digitally, and it was a located digital story.
I'm Tom Abbott. My role on this project is the academic partner, so I'm really bringing 10 years of research into narrative theory and how story works on digital platforms. You'll start with a physical notebook, actually two physical notebooks bound inside a wooden case. One notebook is a guide to this other city, one notebook is a partly unwritten guide to your own city.
The outcome was very much trying to come up with a new way of doing an episodic narrative. It was something that was linking the physical presence where you were located with this ongoing narrative. So it was a way of creating a narrative in the cityscape.
Those notebooks have a map in them, and you'll go from that map to find real locations across Bristol. And those locations exist in both worlds. And what you'll do within that is you'll use your smartphone or your tablet or your laptop to log into local networks, local offline wireless networks, and you'll find digital content. And that digital content will be the chapters of a story. Together they'll form your guide to a story you'll experience as you work your way through it.
It became an experiment in how can we make something that isn't just two projects around one book, or it's a kind of digital book and a physical book, but how do we make something where one is dependent on the other and you can't have one without the other?
bottom line, whatever it is you're making, whether it's a piece of technology, whether it's a linear piece of content, ultimately what is the narrative that it creates? And I think that in the last 10 years or so, I think we've perhaps missed the fact that really we're just talking about a new technology being implemented, which allows completely new interactions between the consumer and the producer. As I say, it moves towards a co-production environment, but the narrative is still vital. So while there may be many people who don't feel comfortable with digital, they feel very comfortable with traditional skills of narrative. It's just digital shifts slightly, the pacing of that narrative, the way the narrative can be delivered.
Digital products should not belong to a device. It should belong to me, and no matter what device I use, I should be able to use that digital product. We all use different devices. Why do people aim products or campaigns at one device or a region of devices when you could aim it at all devices?
So what I'd suggest is if you're in a conventional linear media space, work with some young people, play with them, enjoy things with them, learn each other's world, because you've both got something to offer to the other.